looks like it's going to be warmer on Thursday, like 62. So
You're gonna do it inside or outside?
outside, I'll put it like on the, like on in the grass, kind of the way we did. If we got time tomorrow, once we finish with the test, and y'all want to practice, we can do that. Right.
We got a test tomorrow?
No.
I heard that too.
Where'd you hear that from?
You said it. You said it after the test tomorrow.
Oh, I meant after the review for the test tomorrow. Oh. I'm gonna say, so it's so funny, everything I said yesterday, or did yesterday at the house was wrong.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel good. So, I mean, everything, and I was like, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. And then, I mean, it was just as if my husband just started picking on me. Everything I did, I was like, it's not my fault. You know, because I was sick. I mean, I did some like, there was something in the class I was doing. I was like, man, I didn't do that, but it's not my fault. I was making the bed, and I forgot to put the electric blanket on it. Well, I put the other one, he said, are we missing something? I was like, yeah, so it's not my fault. So that was like the joke of the day, kind of like, that's not my fault, but I'm feeling better today. So, no, I after we finish reviewing, we may be able to review all day today, you know, get enough in today.
Yeah.
But if we finish up and anybody wants to practice, we can do that tomorrow. I'm kind of going slow on these problems. Typically, I go real fast and do it one day, and you just have to catch up. So go ahead, if you want to write that down, write it down, because I'm not going to email you this. So this is almost identical to what number 1 looks like. And it's complete and check the level notes. I do not ask for an adjustment. I just say complete and check them, so like your page check. That's all I ask. This is out of chapter 4, or no, out of chapter 5. So I had a review in Blackboard. I always have been in there, you can see. And this kind of gives you some of the problems, but if I don't cover it in these next 2 days, it's not on there.
You got a thing on the assignment sheet down at the bottom says final. Is that the same one?
Yeah, it is. But if I don't cover it, like I said, so that tells you like C, like number 2 will be out of chapter 4, and chapter 5 is going to be the differential leveling. So I actually got more on this than that's on the exam. Kind of review for the whole course. So Louis and Chris, if y'all came in, I don't know if you heard what I was saying, that the first 2 weeks of the semester, next semester, is going to be virtual. So if you have any classes, you're going to be, like, if you're in any of my classes, you're going to have to log on at the time class is virtually from home.
That's campus-wide?
Well, it's either online or virtual. In other words, I've got to find out if anybody doesn't have a computer to be able to do it from home. We're supposed to ask that. And then also, y'all are pretty familiar about how to log into the virtual sessions, but some of the other classes may not have ever done it. Like I don't think that your CAD class has ever logged in virtually. So I may get him to practice test it with some of the people just so they know how to do it, because they may be in his EGR 115. So I want to make sure everybody knows how, and I will be sending out reminders. So students, the semester starts on the 11th, students won't be back till the 25th. Let's see what else. But our open lab will be open downstairs, I think maybe starting the 11th. But if y'all need to come in and send me an email so I can make sure, because they didn't close it in the spring, so I doubt they'll close that now because they want to be able to allow students to do their work if they want to come in there. And they said one of our machines that had the CAD and some of the other stuff usually was used during last semester, so students, there was software to use it, you know, if they couldn't download CAD or they couldn't do anything. All right, ready to go? Get this one started. Everybody can see my screen? So I've already done the numbers. So you can use old test, you can use your notes, you can use your textbook calculator for the test. All right, we're beginning at benchmark 1 and we're ending on benchmark 2. So I don't ask you, I would have had to give you the elevation of benchmark 2 for you to compare it or adjust. And I'm not doing that. So we're not going to compare and we're not going to adjust. We're just going to figure it and check our level. So when I add, so my first one will be I add the 555.111, add my back site, and I'll get a HI of 556.973. And then, so that's my HI. So we got the instrument set up. And then I need a turn point. So I read a 4.654 on my turn point. So that's your subtraction. Kind of looks like this. I'm just kind of connecting some arrows to show you how. Gives you that. All right, now we're at turn point. We're at turn point 2 and we're getting a back sight. And our back sight is 6.733. And we got a new HI. And this particular one, I said to keep to 3 decimal places. So I'll kind of give you that on there. Take a break? Oh, okay. That's a good idea. All right, so now I've got my new HI, and we couldn't see again, so we had to do another turn point. So we're going to subtract the 7.121. So this will actually give you a check when you get to the end. If you check your page notes, you'll see if you added something wrong. If you read something wrong, you wouldn't know, but if you added something wrong, this will let you know if you get your test right when you've got the problem right. All right, did another turn point. It's kind of about like what we did from, and then we read a back sight. We got a new HI. I'm gonna have to squeeze the ones in the bottom in. If you need to do some notes. So you're just adding your back sights. And subtracting your foresights. First row is only gonna be a back sight, so that'll be your first HI. Then you'll have a back sight on the a foresight on the first turn point, and then a back sight on the same line. And then the end line should only have one foresight. And I leave spaces to put your HIs in between. So my turn point My turn point 3 elevation is 551.476. And then now I'm going to add new back sight, get an HI. Subtract my foresight. I'll make sure that I didn't have a plus above the back sight or a minus above the foresight. I'll try to remember to add it in the test. But y'all should know that by now. Now, page check. I didn't leave enough room on the page to write this. So I would total up all my back sights. I'm going to stick it and I do a little summation. Would be 24.879. And if I total all the foresights up, I got 28.430. I'm going to do a little summation. And that's, kind of put it over here to the side. That would be 28.43. So I added my back sights. I added my foresights. To check, and you can do it either way, I could take the end elevation. So you need to do the end elevation. You can do start or end. Minus the beginning. My ones turned out funny. So that's end. Okay.
then this is my summation of my back sights. 24.879 minus the summation of your foresights. Got something. Did have something wrong. I wrote 8.430. For some reason, I think I have something written on.
Talking about for backside portion.
No, I think it's just my check. No, that's right. So that's what you call a page check. I'm going to circle right now the page check information in a different color. Slaves green.
I thought can't you do the starting elevation plus the summation of the backside minus the front side?
Yep.
And you should end on your
Yep.
elevation.
Yep.
Does that way work too?
Yep. It does. So what Wyatt was saying, he took the beginning plus the back sights minus the foresights, and you should get the end. So if I did 551, so this is away, or still gonna have to add them together, but I could say 55. This is an alternate way you can add.
That was 555.
Oh yeah, that's. Plus my summation and my back sights. Plus 24. Okay, so that's an alternate way that you can check it. Two ways to check. So you're going to have to total your sum, like the summations. I'll put that one in and see what I got. And that's a 5.6. Looks like an 8. Kind of looks like that. We good? Okay. Okay, problem 2. supposed to be. Looks like that. It's supposed to be my rod. That looks like a better rod. So it's gonna ask you if I gave you the beginning elevation, I want to know what the end elevation is. So remember, your back sights are plus and your foresights are minus. Second right hand. I'm just going to put plus, minus, plus, minus. So I am recording today's session. So if you missed something, you go back. Get it. Ready to go? Okay. So take 100 and I'm gonna add the back sight. That's gonna give me the HI. And I'm just gonna write it right above it. So that should be 112.64. Nothing like a big tape measure. Then we gave term point 1, we read a 1.10. So we're going to subtract that from our HI and we're going to get 111.86. 0.54 for term point 1. Next one's a backside, so we're going to add that to the 111.54, the 10.88. What's HI stand for? Height of instrument. Yep. And we're going to subtract the foresight 2.54. That'll give us an elevation of term point 2 is 119.86. And then we're going to add our new HI, 119.86 plus the 9.72. I'll move out of the way in just a second. And then we're going to subtract our 3.10. So your elevation you should get for benchmark 2 should be 126.48. And now I can check that just like we did the page check. I can check it by adding up all my back sites. So I could do my 1264 plus my 10.88. Might would do that. So I added summations of back sites. Okay, and I'm going to do summation of my foresight. And then I'm going to take my beginning elevation plus my back sights minus my foresights. And that should equal this number. $126.48. So that would be a check. I don't say you have to check it, but I would check it if it's on a test and that's worth 10 points. I would check it. Takes less than 30 seconds to check that one. The first one, I tell you, you have to check, so I'll count off points if you don't check it. Each one usually has a points value, so both of the first one and second one are worth 10 points. We good? Okay. So I'm going to go back to page 1 that I have here because we're getting to, this is problems 3 and 4. And these are conversions, so I'm stepping back page or chapter 2. So we want to convert the following distance in feet to meters, and that was given U.S. survey feet. So U.S. survey feet is in chapter 2, and I think it's on, let's see what page that one's on, but they have a, Page 23. So it's gonna be the 0.3048006. 1 foot is. So I'm on page 23. Point 3048006. Yeah. What if it was in, it just said feet, not US survey feet? What would be your conversion?
3048.
So it'd be just 0.3048. There's no 006 for the international foot. I'm more concerned about US survey feet than I am international, because US survey feet is what we use here. But I do want you aware of international foot. All right, so if I want the answer in meters, and I'm looking at this conversion, I know that out of the 1 foot equals the 0.3048006 meters, I know if we're wanting meters, that number goes on top. It's called SFT. So whatever you're solving for will go on the top. When you're you either go on the top is what you're looking for. So on both of these, and then like SFT cancels, and you're left with meters. Okay, so that's what I got for the first one. I think that's what I got for the first one.
Wouldn't be meters at the end.
Yeah.
Do you always want it to 2 decimal places, or it just depends on the problem?
Just particularly that this, like if I ask you, I'd put it just to 2. So in multiplication, you put it to the lowest amount of significant figures, and that would have been 1, but I'm not asking for that. So I would just put it to 2. Let me see if I can. So if it's 1700.2 times 0.304. 525. And it would have rounded up either way. It's gonna kept it to 3. That would have rounded up. So now, I got 5,280 feet. Does anybody know what that number represents also?
Is that a mile?
10 miles. Yeah, there's 5,280 feet in a mile. So my answer for that one if you put it to 2 decimal places, I'm okay with that. If you put it to 3, I'm okay with that. I don't know what it is. There's a box for the answer to go in. And there's a box for the answer to go in so that I don't have to look through somebody else's chicken scratch to find the answer. So there'll be a box for you to be able to put your answer in on the test. I have a little, like for that, for not so much for your first one, but the second one I have a box. This one I don't have a box, but you need to box it in, your answer in at the end. Because if I'm giving these Wednesday, I'm trying to have everything graded Friday afternoon and everything put in Blackboard. And then I'll tell y'all to check out your grades before and see if you see anything that I missed. So I normally email once I got everything in. So what I'll do in the end, if your final exam is better than any of your test grades, then I'll replace your lowest test grade with your final exam. So that should help some of you out. I don't think everybody usually at least does better than one of their lowest. All right. Chains and lengths. So compute the length in feet corresponding to the following distance measured with a Gunther chain. So how many chains are in a foot? Or how many feet are in a chain? Let me put it that way. How many feet are in a chain? 66. That's all you have to know. And then there's 100 links in a chain. So the easy way to do that is just write this as 6.05 because that's only 5 links. So make sure you put that 0 in there, and then this one would be 50.50. Anything less than 9, you need to put a 0 in front of it. So if it's 6 chains and 2 links, or 6 chains and 9 links, you need to put that 0.05. If not, it's going to treat it like it's 50 or it's 90. So all I got to do is I'm looking for feet. Looks like that. The reason I did that one, because most likely you would see that at some point. If you're ever gonna do anything with surveying, you're gonna see that. Because old deeds are written in chains and links, and we have to convert them. And that rounded to a even that. So, if you guys are just typically surveying, civil, I would suggest, because where can you get 2 separate degrees with only 4 additional classes? 2 separate associate's degrees with 4 classes and only 1 textbook. Don't care if you don't think you're ever going to do surveying. I would have never thought I would do surveying, especially when I worked for the state for 4.5 years and I got out and said, I'm not working outside anymore. 4 classes, and they can fit into your schedule without you having to come an extra day. Maybe in the fall, because I put them all on Monday and Wednesdays. And then in the spring, I grouped the 2 surveying classes together. And you could do you could use one of those 4 subdivision, like a subdivision class as your major elective, and then just take a 1 credit hour computer class. So there are a lot of ways to go, and the reason I'm kind of telling you this is that the civil will transfer, it's a technology, so there's certain schools that take that, and that would be Charlotte. I know ECU does for their project management, Western Carolina does it for project management. Typically, when my students go to Charlotte, and if they got both degrees here, they can transfer there, and within 2.5 years, they have a dual major there in civil engineering, technology, and project management. So they, if they're wanting to get licensed as an engineer, if that's your goal, you need to you have to get a 4-year degree. If you want to be a technician, it's fine. The 4-year degree doesn't have to be from Charlotte. It can be that 4-year geomatics degree from North Carolina A&T. You could be dual licensed with that. And we've got an articulation agreement set up with them. And you don't have to move. You can do your junior, senior classes online through them. You can take any of your physics and other maths here, and then do the core classes online through them. So the board has approved for you, and you actually could be dual licensed. You can't be dual licensed. Well, you probably could with the technology, but you just have to wait a little longer. You could be dual licensed as a surveyor and dual licensed as an engineer with that degree. And guidance from me and guidance from them to get the extra classes you need. Like maybe 1 or 2 maths, and that's it. But they've worked it out with the board, and we have verified that to make sure that it's correct. So I'm just kind of throwing that out there, why you would see something like this. Take a break, and I'll start writing the next one.
Before we move on. Why is there 0.5 instead of 0.1?
Yeah.
10 chains, 0.1?
Oh,
0.5?
no, it would be 0.1.
Okay.
Huh. I thought, it ain't my fault.
That's twice I said that today. Ain't my fault.
No, see, the 0.5 needs to change.
I know. It was supposed to be 50, so
Okay.
I'm gonna put it back to 10 the way I had it. That's what I wrote down. So, yeah, not my fault. So I'm sure that would change my number. Oh, I hadn't, did I put the number in there? No? Okay, well, I'm glad I didn't, because it'd have been wrong. And I'm sure this would be SFT, because usually these were dated back in the early 1900s, so at that time we had never heard of like the international foot. So I messed up. That is my fault, this one. 50.1 times 66. Don't do this on a test. We good? Okay. I'll go ahead and scroll over to the third one and be writing that on while you're getting your break.
I think the first one's number is off as well. The answer,
Which one?
399 instead of 339.
Did I? Yes. Yes, because I'll give it back. Yeah, not my fault. Y'all supposed to be checking me. I'm joking.
Well, I mean, I checked it, but I wanted to make sure I was doing it right. So I waited for the second one to be done before then.
Ah, yes, thank you. And yes, it is my fault. That's gonna be the running joke of the day. Got too many numbers running all in my head.
Which beef? Four-hour final tomorrow.
That was fun.
Well, you got it.
No, we got final one. We basically have to do
Then it's set up Thursday.
Okay. I got my Adderall and I didn't know, no, sir. Took the Adderall? I take that, right? I said, it's full. Yeah, man, it's heavy. There's another one, isn't there? Like, supposed to be good for your mind, like, 41 to go for us, things like that. Yeah. Sounds like 21 to go. That was like 3 more, right? Yeah. Yeah. I would remember that.
Right now, I'm in one slot.
Oh, what did I do?
So, check and see, I know like studios, North Carolina, and see, they give a credit for the exact class they are on. You're not sure about the Charlotte. You know, how they, you know, add up. I know it took my students 2 years, 1 semester to get their 4-year degree, but they dual majored in civil engineering technology, project management, that 2 year, half your time. And 4 of them, 4 got both degrees and both finished in December. All 4 did. So check, I'm not sure on that one. I know if my AT gives it to ours. Anybody else got their area test? That way I can grade them and get them back to you tomorrow.
Yeah, too. I'll be submitting mine.
Yeah, you can submit it online. There is a link online to do it.
I don't remember on this one. What was this one? I think I'm getting this tested for something else.
That's one.
For this, I just write out my thing that I
That's
did
fine.
and then just dot.
That's fine. Yeah.
Keep it clean.
Yeah, because I'm on the test, I may give partial credit, but I'm really gonna be looking at that last number. But if you do write it out and I've got time to look through, then I'll look through on the final and see like where you went wrong. But y'all aren't gonna get the final back. Well, last time it was Thursday afternoon by the time I finished them. But then I put the final grade in Blackboard and then put and then I went ahead and whatever the lowest test grade you had, filled your final with that and use it worked out. All right, we're gonna convert a North Azimuth to a bearing. So we're gonna be in chapter probably 7 on this one, in that chart. Yeah, we're gonna be on page 170, 171. So formulas, and this is convert the North Azimuth to a bearing. So formulas to compute bearing angles from azimuth, that's on page 170. If it's quadrant 1
a bearing equals the azimuth. If it's quadrant 2, the bearing equals 180 minus the azimuth. If it's quadrant 3, the bearing equals azimuth minus 180. And if it's quadrant 4, the bearing equals 360 minus the azimuth. All right, which quadrant is A in?
First quadrant.
So I'm going to go ahead and put northeast. So the azimuth is the bearing. So all you'd have to do is give me 2 letters. What quadrant is B in? 219 degrees. Third, so that's southwest. So I need to take third quadrant is the azimuth minus 180. Got all these figured. Oh, there they are. Should be south 39 degrees, 17 minutes, and 37 seconds. Last one, 303 degrees, 18 minutes, 46 seconds. What quadrant's that one in? Northwest. So I'm going to do 360 minus your azimuth, because it's quadrant 4. So I got 56 degrees, 41 minutes, 14 seconds. These problems are worth 5 points. And you'll have 3.
We double check B again, or am I wrong? I got 58 as opposed to 37.
Yep. Yeah. 39, 17, 38.
Is that my fault again?
I'm looking. Okay, so I put 38, 219. Oh, I was supposed to write 37. I picked up the 58 from the one before. So what happened was I picked up, it was supposed to have been 219, 17, 37. So sorry, but if you had 58, is that what I had up there? It would have been south 39 degrees, 17 minutes, 58 seconds.
Yes.
So sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm still not feeling good. Normally, I know I talk and write down things, but this is some of the stuff that my students do, is pick things up from the problem before. And that's what I did. I picked it up from the problem before and brought it down. That's not good. Good on this? Yeah? Pause. C was north 56 degrees, 41 minutes, 14 seconds west. So that was in quadrant 4. Now we're going to go backwards. We're going to be given a bearing, and we want to know what the azimuth to the north is. A lot of times, I like to kind of sketch these in. Like when I sketch it in, then I can see a little better. This is quadrant 1. So if you're given a bearing, the bearing is the angle it makes from the north. So quadrant 1, it's the same. So you would just give me 46 degrees, 24 minutes, 13 seconds. With the azimuth, you don't give me 2 letters. Only with bearings, you have to give me 2 letters. I have done in the past what they call a looky-loo over your test. So when you turn it in, I'm going to say you need to look at this problem, and this problem. I'm not going to tell you how to solve it, but I'm going to tell you if it's wrong and hand it back. I had one that would have had the easiest one he missed. So then I'm just going to do a looky-loo. I'm not going to do a looky-loo 5 times. I'll do it 1 time and then say you need to check these. So, because you could do just something like what I've done. Quadrant 2. So the second one is in quadrant 2. So it kind of looks like this. So the bearing is the angle it makes from the south if it's in quadrant 2. So that's the 78 degrees, 12 minutes, 33 seconds. And if I'm looking for the azimuth, I'm looking for the angle that the line makes all the way back around to the north. So I'm looking for that. So if you have one that's in quadrant 2, just subtract take 180 minus your bearing. Make sure to pay attention a little more. And that's what I got. Third one, I'm going to put it right over here. North, south, east, west. This one's in quadrant 3. So the bearing is the angle it makes from the south. Okay, so that's your angle, 52, 55, 05. And I'm looking for the angle all the way back around to north. Because the north azimuth is always clockwise and always measured from the north. So I would take my 180 plus the bearing. So quadrant 3, you're always going to take the bearing plus 180. And then the last one is in quadrant 4. So it kind of looks like this quadrant 1 up here. So I'm going to sketch it real quick. Kind of looks like that, north, south, east, west. So this is the 62. And if we're looking for the north azimuth, it's the angle that it makes all the way back around to north. So I can take 360 minus 62 degrees, 08 minutes, 02 seconds. And that would be, I'm going to write it in here, 297 degrees, 51 minutes, and 58 seconds. I think I wrote all that down right. I'm double checking good now. Instead of flying through one time and writing it down, I'm checking my work. Can you believe, I don't know that I don't think I've ever made a mistake on surveying that I'm aware of. Usually if something's, because I'll catch it, because I double check stuff. So if I stake with the instrument and I'm staking 4 corners to a house, I'll check and make sure that they match up before I walk off. And I know that does happen, and where I've actually put I thought like it told me to turn 10 degrees, 10 minutes, and 5 seconds. I did 10, 10, or 10, 11, 5. And sometimes I'll catch it because it'll tell me that I'm off in the extra, left or right. But if I don't pay attention, then it may be at the end that when I measure, I realize I got something off. Somebody had come up to and talked to my husband, seeing if we would do surveying for house stakes like in Sanford, because the surveyors are on a 4-month wait out for, if they're waiting to get stuff done, takes 4 months. Then he said when they do it, they'll do it wrong, and then when they bring it to their attention, then they'll move it and said, no, they were right to begin with. So he started recording the guy. So he thought the guy was drinking on the job. I don't know. He said the surveyors now are plenty busy, can make all the money they want. And of course, we told them, no, we don't, that I teach and that's my priority. So I know if I didn't teach, that's what I'd go back to doing.
Somebody gonna like money?
No, I did not. Okay, I taught part-time and I had my own business. Then the position came available that I'm in, and I did not apply for it. I sat on the interview committee for it, we decided to, but I'm not sure why. Because at that time I was part-time, so I don't know what took place, but they didn't hire anybody. And then I was still teaching part-time, and Mr. Bevel came to me and asked if I would maybe consider it. And I said, well, I get sick easy, and I don't want to impact the students' learning. If I get sick easy and I'm out for a week, what just happened. So he's like, well, you know, he'd been knowing me for 5 years. Well, then about 3-4 weeks later, the dean came to him and asked him, would I consider it? They were afraid the position was going to close, and then they might not get enough. So that's how I got it.
No funding for it next year.
Yeah, so that's how I got it. So, and then those ones that I was doing, those big 100-acre jobs that are in swamp land, and I didn't have to take those jobs anymore. Not that they weren't bad and they were good money, but I didn't have to worry about that. But I'll go back to it. I got all the gizmos you could think. I used to have all the gizmos to take care of stuff. All right, next one. This is one y'all like. This is the one I've noticed that on the parent test that kind of got. I just did one, but you're gonna have one that goes like from A to B. Let me throw you another one in here. Now, this I'm just sketching and is not to scale. Yes, it's number 7. This is worth 5 points, so each of these are worth 5. One's worth 2.5, the other's worth 2.5, and I have a box for you. All right. So I've got A to B, and I want the bearing from B to C and C to D. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch this one in because it's easier. So I'm going to do,
What page you said this on?
this would be just like that problem in the front of chapter 7 that we worked, where I gave you one bearing like page 165 at the bottom, at like number A. That has bearings. And just like you did your traverse, where you had angles and I asked for the bearings. Computing the bearings. And it's just like your test that I gave. I did have, now I'm thinking of it. It'd be just like the second one on that paper exam 2, which I gave you one bearing and I asked for, I don't think it was that, I think that was on, there's one that had the trig and stuff on it. And they got their own test.
The last one you put?
No, because it was a paper test.
it was the paper test right before, and I reviewed for it too. It was like, Barron's, Azimuth.
This one, man?
Yeah, that's like the practice test. That was like a practice assignment, but that would be one that we did too. Something else. If you guys, Wyatt, I have something of yours. He just went out. That's something of his, a test of his. It is kind of like your practice thing that I gave you to take home. That worksheet, that surveying worksheet, it is on there. It's like the second one on there. No, it's not like the second one. Because I'm giving you the angle. Nobody has their test, the third test? Yes. So it's gonna be like right there, like number 11 on your, what's it say, test? Just says survey 110 exam. It doesn't say test 3, it just says that one, right there. Number 11.
The 220, the 70 degrees.
It was supposed to be north 30 degrees west. Yes.
I saw it. I didn't know it.
Yes, that one. So this is how to do that one. And so you got sent notes on how to do this test too. Because I did it Blackboard. So that's gonna be like test. That's on this one, number 11. All right, so I'm gonna sketch it in. So north, south, east, west. What quadrant is that line A to B in? 2. But it says northwest. Every bearing has 2 lines. I had some of yours. Every bearing has 2 lines. So if you were looking from, well, that says southeast, but like if when we go to do this next one, I'll say what I'm talking about. It is southeast. But every bearing has 2 lines. So you just look at your north and see what is referencing, because my students that get in survey 3, when they start putting bearings in CAD, and I've had it where people went for a job interview and they'll ask them to put a bearing in CAD. They get hung up on the reverse bearings. But every bearing depends on which line you're looking at. If you're at one end, it would be in quadrant. If it's the other end, you just look at your north bearing. All right, so if that's in quadrant 2, the bearing is the angle it makes from the south. If it's in quadrant 2 or 3, the bearing always is from the south. If it's in quadrant 1 or 4, the bearing is always from the north. Okay, so that's 46 degrees. 10 minutes. So that's the one we have. Now, if I'm looking here, because I already gave you that one. If I'm looking here, what quadrant is that in now?
3 to 8.
So it's actually in the 4th quadrant. There's what I mean by reverse bearings. So now we're looking for B to A to be able to solve that one. Okay, so that means I know this is 46 degrees. If you want to use a protractor on the test just to check, by all means, they're over there. So now I want to know the bearing on B to C. What quadrant is B to C in? So the bearing would be the angle it makes from the south. So that's what I'm looking for. So how do you think you would solve this? It's in quadrant 2. If it's over 90, then we know it then somehow goes into quadrant 1 and it's not drawn right. But it should. What should I do to get that little bit? How do you want to solve that? I'm looking for this angle that it makes from the south. I'm going to want y'all to think on this for a second. I've got this, and I've got this. Couldn't I add these two together? And then that would give me all the way around, and then subtract 180 and figure out what's left over?
You can't subtract 180. I thought that what we had to do was the 90 plus the
Well, if you're doing that, then you're really not getting, if you're thinking about doing it like that, then you're saying you're trying to add this and what this is together. And that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one that makes from the south. You would be giving me.
Ain't that you see how that the degrees from the 90 down to the line, right? That's what I'm looking for. So we already know that degree up there minus that, because that's a 90 degree.
Okay, so you're saying you're going to take 90 minus 46 degrees, 10 minutes.
Absolutely. And let me ask us, how did we get this before? When we doing this? But you see where, right? You see, it says 173,
Come up here.
right?
Come up here and show me.
Yeah, exactly like that. Once I get this and this together, this is just add 90. And then once I add 90, and you want me to get that, then that's 360 minus what I just added all this. Because 90 plus that.
I don't want that.
Which one you
I
want?
don't want that up there. I want that.
You want this one right here?
Yeah.
So.
The bearing is the angle it makes from the south.
All right, so if this is the one you want, then all I gotta do is solve this part, right? Because this is the 90 automatically. And then once I add the 90 to that,
How
then.
How are you going to get that?
What you mean?
How are you going to get this since you're wanting to add that to it?
How am I gonna get that?
Yeah.
Because it's the opposite of this, right?
Yeah, but you don't know that.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying now. I see what you're saying. All right, I did it the opposite way. I got what you're saying now.
You would just do 170 plus 46 minus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then that would be your it would be 37 degrees.
Yeah. So if I add the 46 and the 170, that'll give me this angle all the way back around. And we know it's a straight line. So I would just subtract out 180 and that would leave me with what's left over. So I would say 46 degrees, 10 minutes. and I would add 170.
I thought you were gonna show me a hat.
And when I get that, I'll subtract 180, and that'll leave me with what's left over. And I would, yeah, like I said, so if it's falling in quadrant 2, you need to figure out the angle from, that would have been like a North Azimuth he would have been trying to solve. But if you solve it, you would just have to subtract 180 to get the bearing. I'm getting 37 degrees, 3 minutes, 00 seconds. So that line would be south 37 degrees, 3 minutes, east. Not bad when I do it like that, right? I kind of, sometimes I'll drag it up and make it bigger and isolate it a little more so I can see what I'm asking for. All right, so I'm going to do north, south, east, west. Okay. So what quadrant is now C to be in? 4. So the bearing is the angle it makes from the north. And what quadrant is C to D in? So that means I'm looking for this. If the circle's 360, what can I do?
Have 37 and 240.
So I could add the two angles together. $240. My handwriting's bad. I think it's 240. And I must, oh yeah, that's my south. It was 240. I can add them together and then subtract that from 360. Or you could say 360 minus those two. I'm going to go ahead and add them together. So 3 and 9 would be 2. Carry the 1 would be 42. I don't suggest doing this by hand. Some of y'all do that and it kind of messes up. Okay. 3 and 9's 2, carry the 1's 4, 7 and 0 is 7, 3 and 2 is 7, so it would be 2, and I'm going to subtract that from 360.
EQ 18.
I'll have just 1 second. I'm going back out and checking. 82 degrees, 18 minutes. So probably if you ask me which survey is the hardest, it's going to be survey 1. It's the prerequisite for every other survey class. Once you get through survey 1, you can take any other survey class.
I see what he was doing though. Instead of solving in relation to the north,
He did.
we are-
He actually found,
he was solving in relation to the quadrant, which is smart as well.
he was solving for the north aspect, actually. And then he still would have to convert it to a bigger. So, I mean, to me, this is the hardest. Once you get past this, everything else is, this is a prerequisite for it. And none of the only other one, survey 2, is a prerequisite for my subdivision because we work with, vertical curves, horizontal curves, and earthwork. All right, we are at quarter till. Let's see what my next one was. My next one would have been one that says compute all interior angles. So we wouldn't have time to do that real quick. So tomorrow I'll do compute the interior angles, which would be like your one task. Let's see. Compute interior. Then I gave you 3 easy ones, which is if it's number of sides. I think, let me do these 3. I'm gonna do 2 real quick. And I'm gonna do, no, wait, I don't have done. This one's gonna be 9 and 10. If you've got 4 sides, what should the interior angles be for a closed traverse? That's 4 sides and 7 sides. This is closed. These are interior angles. What should the sum of your interior angles add up to be for a closed? And these are, I wrote exterior. I want exterior. Interior. I got it written out that it says closed. What's the formula? Number of sides minus 2 times 180. And exterior is number of sides plus 2 times 180. You see what page that's on. So that's a plug and chug. Together, I gave you 3 for the interior, 2 for the exterior, that's 5 points. Shouldn't be no reason you couldn't get 5 points. I have that highlighted in my book. Page 233. Four minus 2 times 180 is what, 360?
Yep.
7 minus 2 times 180. I was thinking 900. All right, exterior. Exterior with 7 sides. Okay. Just that simple. That's 9 and 10. So I'll go back and pick up number 8 tomorrow, and then I'll do 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15.
Oh, you scared me, but I scared you.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah. It's,
Or just wait until the afternoon.
yeah, wait this afternoon, you can just, you've got it, and just give it to me this afternoon, that way I put it in the right folder.
And then the project is also due this afternoon.
If you've got it ready.
Okay.
So I'll be putting in the, polling them first, so, and then I think the next one I'll be doing is Monica and Jonathan's. So if you're ready, whenever you're ready, let me know and you'll be the third one. And I do have Anthony that does it. I've got his, so I can kind of look at your numbers versus his.
Well, okay, I'm not 100% ready because I'm having difficulty finding the diameters of the HVAC.
Yeah, so basically on
Because
that,
I can look at the diagram and see that there's like numbers, it's like 6, 4, 12, all in there, but for the big ducts, the big rigid ducts, not the flexible, there's no diameter, so it's just like.
give me, because they're gonna do it by sheet metal, so give me a width, just measure a rough width, and then give me a length on them, like measure all the lengths, and then I'll look for sheet metal. And I think the sheet metal's a linear feet that I can do, and then we can.
I'll still work on it this afternoon.
So that's what I had to send him some of the information on last night. And then when you size the units themselves, it's kind of like, all I just have to put in is a office building, low rise, and it'll know what unit to go there. So you won't have to try to find a unit.
Man, I never got that account back, because I one of the many days that I missed.
That must have been the one I saw of yours and was looking for it, because I did see it in my folder. I did see one of yours in my folder. Let me see where it might have been at the front. I swing. I did see one of yours in my folder. Yesterday. I was looking to see this and I saw it yesterday. Yep. I knew I had one of yours, I just couldn't find it real quick. I found the one that I had of Wyatt's that I needed to get in.
Oh, I get a printout of the test and everything turned in today.
I'm having difficulty finding.